Hi there, this is Donna Abreu from Simply Living Wellness. I am doing a live on my phone for the first time. I'm not sure how to toggle back to me. There, hi. I wanted to show you some of the food prep that I do every Sunday, and that's so that I can have healthy food all week long, and I don't have to be crazy all week prepping food because I leave the house at like 8 in the morning usually, and I like to have my breakfast easy to make and my lunch. I bring that every day because I want to have healthy food with me and don't want to eat out every time. And so on Sundays I try to do a little food prep. So I'm just going to toggle back here and show you what that looks like. So I have Brussels sprouts cut in half that I roast in this fry pan, just kind of like a wok. And all I put in there is actually just Himalayan salt over here and coconut oil, which I keep right by my stove. I have coconut oil and ghee, and I kind of alternate between those because those can be heated at high temperatures. You have to be really careful with oils. When you heat them at high temperatures, they turn toxic. They turn into a trans oil. I don't think I said that exactly right, but it's one of those oils that are not good for us. And avocado oil I'm careful with, and definitely olive oil you don't want to heat. So save those for your cold salads. But coconut oil and ghee is fine. So these are my Brussels sprouts, and before that I had cooked cabbage, green and red cabbage, and I just chopped those really quickly and I sauteed those in the same pan already, and in there I put coconut oil as well. I put a little bit of cumin and curry powder, salt and pepper, and you know, that's kind of my standard. And I put them in the 4 jars because I go into the office 4 times a week, so I usually prepare 4 jars of cooked veggies ready to go. So in the morning I just grab a jar and I have fresh veggies, and what I actually do is I cook broth in the crock pot. I make bone broth pretty much all the time, and you can have you can use the same set of chicken bones for 3 you can refill the crock pot 3 times. So I put the chicken bones in, I put a little cider vinegar in there and a little bit of salt, and I put astragalus root, which I'm going to show you, in there as well, because astragalus root is really good for building up your immune system, especially now that we're entering the flu season. So I'll show you that in a minute. And I have that going in the crock pot, and then I take, after it's been cooking for about 24 hours, I take all the broth out and I put it in large half-gallon size mason jars, let it cool, then put it in the fridge, and then I replenish the crock pot with more water, and you can do that 3 times with the same set of bones. So I have my broth ready to go in the mason jars. Actually, I don't have any right now to show you, but I have it ready to go, and then in the morning I heat it up with spices. I season the broth, and then I bring one of these with me to work, and then I basically just assemble the hot broth with these cold veggies, and it just heats them up right away because my broth stays really hot because I put it in a really good thermos. So that's kind of my lunch, and then I'll add other things to my soup as well. So these Brussels sprouts are going to go into these 4 jars, split up. I'll probably have extra, those are quite a bit, and I'll just keep them in the fridge for dinners. That's the astragalus root. It's just a root that's really good to add to the broth. I also boil eggs. I only have 3 today, but normally I'd boil, 7 or 8 eggs and have those in the fridge for lunches or snacks. I usually add these dried mushrooms that I get at Costco to the broth in the morning. And then I make this quiche, which I'll show you at the very bottom. There is grated zucchini, which it's a layer of grated zucchini that goes right into the pot, into the casserole dish. And then there's this layer of red peppers and carrots that I sauteed. And with that, I put ginger. And I want to give you a little tip about the ginger. It is so much better to use fresh ginger in anything you cook rather than powder. It just tastes so much better. But I used to never use it because I thought you had to peel the ginger, and it's such a pain to peel ginger. I don't know if you ever done that, but now my friend Susan taught me that I can just grate the ginger with the peel on, and it's so easy. So that's what I do. And she got me this handy little grater, which has a little, container that comes right out. So everything collects in there. So I sauteed the ginger with the onion and peppers and actually shredded carrots. I shredded those carrots in the grater also. And then I put a layer of dandelion greens that I just chopped just because I had them. It's like whatever you have around is what you put in. And the only thing that I pre-cook would be peppers and onions usually, because otherwise they get kind of rubbery. But the other veggies can be raw. And then on top of that, I put some locally prepared breakfast sausage that I had pre-cooked. So that I pre-cooked for sure as well. So this is grass-fed, locally raised, very clean, organic pork sausage that has a breakfast savory, flavoring already, seasoning. So then I layered that on top. So I just have my layers of veggies and the sausage. You could put cheese in there if you want. I don't really eat much cheese unless it's like sheep cheese. Sometimes I put that in there. And then I just put seasoning on top. I put salt, the same Himalayan salt, and I put freshly ground pepper. The ginger's already in there, the onion's in there. I just put some garlic powder when I sauteed the onions. Whatever you have, whatever kind of seasonings you like. And then the final step is I'm going to beat a dozen eggs in the bowl. I'm going to pre-beat that, and then I'm going to pour that right over the top, and then I'm going to bake it for, until it's very firm and it's not jiggly anymore. But it's about 45 to 50 minutes in the oven at 350. Then I have my completed quiche, and I'll cut it up in about 6 to 8 chunks. Probably I'll make 6 large pieces out of this, which will last me for 6 breakfasts all week long. I could use it for lunch too, but I typically use it for breakfast. I like to have a hearty breakfast first thing in the morning because it really sets your body up for fat burning rather than fat storage. I'll go into that in another video another time. So really good to have that hearty breakfast that's got plenty of healthy vegetables, protein, and healthy fats. And to saute this layer in between the onions, I actually used ghee for that. And voila, now I have breakfast made for the rest of the week. And one thing I might add actually are sweet potatoes that I've just been cooking in my little convection oven. And I might chop up maybe a half, maybe one of those sweet potatoes, and put that actually as the final layer in here as well. And there you go. So it's really handy to do the food prep at the beginning of the week, especially if you're working, especially if you have kids. You know, kids will love this, so you can feed it to your kids as well. A couple other things in my kitchen. I'm really environmentally conscious, so I keep all my tea bags and scraps that are not edible by animals for composting. And then in a separate container, I keep the vegetable scraps from cutting up vegetables or anything that could get discarded but that's edible. I save in my freezer for my friends' chickens and my friends' hogs. And I put them in the freezer in this container, and then when it's full, I put it in plastic bags, and I keep it frozen till I deliver it to them or till they pick it up, because that keeps it from getting moldy and keeps it fresh, and then you don't waste anything. So anyway, wanted to just take you in my kitchen real quick, and hope you got some helpful tips out of that. Have a beautiful day. Simply Living Wellness. Donna Abreu signing off.